Hey guys, welcome into today's video. Today I want to go over my favorite top products that you can get at Sephora. I thought this video was going to be a little bit harder to film than it is, or to make my selections, but it really wasn't. As I was opening my drawers, there are things that I reach for all the time and that I have multiple products of. So I wanted to do this video because I spend the majority of my money on beauty products at Sephora throughout the year, by far. I do have a lot of like drugstore items in my collection and things from Ulta that I really love and that I reach for and that I would consider holy grails, but there are some really good products at Sephora. A lot of them are talked about, they're very mainstream brands, but there are a couple of items in here that don't get talked about a whole lot, and I wanted to feature them on my channel. I am somebody who has dry skin, I'm getting a little bit more mature, I'm 38 years old, so there are a lot of products that I see work for a lot of people that don't really work for me, and I think that's true of everyone and everything, so I just wanted to share kind of my personal opinions of the top products in every category from Sephora. Like I said, these were not difficult selections. I initially thought that they were going to be when I wanted to film this video, but as I was opening my drawer, there are things that I reach for all the time. Super easy. I would consider these products that are my holy grails that I would definitely repurchase, and most of these I have multiples of in my collection because I liked them so much. And I'm actually not somebody, even though I have now a channel that I feature beauty items on, am I likely to buy multiple shades and things. I usually don't. Even when I'm testing new product, I only get one shade of things unless I really like it. I don't get set any PR, obviously. I'm a little baby tiny YouTuber at this point, so everything I purchase on my own, so if I have more than one, it usually means something. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. I have named this video top products in every category from Sephora because I don't want to limit it to just one. There are some that I consider my holy grails that I have for like different categories. For example, like a cream blush or a powder blush, or even in the cases of primer, they just do something different. And so depending upon what I'm looking for that day, like I'll reach for those. And some that I continually reach for, a lot of them don't have a lot of product left in some cases. So, you know, that's really difficult for me to do since I've been purchasing a lot of makeup in the last 2 years and that I've been doing my channel. And so a lot of times I just find myself in an entire month just testing new products. And so I don't get back to my holy grails. So if a lot of these products are used up, it really means something. It means I've really reached for them throughout the year. And I would say I've had these products no more than 12 months. So starting at the bottom, I want to go over primers. The first primer that I want to go over is the Pore Diffusing Primer from Rare Beauty. I just have a mini in this one, but I consider this product to be the best of its kind. I don't use pore diffusing primers very often, but I have tried a lot of them. I would just consider this primer literally the best pore diffusing primer that I have ever tried. It's lightweight, it's non-offensive, it plays with every product that I put on top of it, so every foundation, every concealer. Rare Beauty's line is just pretty affordable, like as far as makeup items are getting at this point. She stays pretty mid-range and I like that. Even selling her stuff at Sephora, I like that a lot of her stuff comes in minis, even when she first launches and stuff doesn't come in minis. A lot of times like for holiday or just like later on, a lot of the mini products do come out. For the most part, I'm a really big fan of Rare Beauty. This is just a product that I think just does its job. There are a lot of products that I test that I go, okay, I don't really think that did anything and I'm just never gonna reach for it again. But this is one that I won't let go. I have done many declutters in the past year and a half, and this one stays. And I have used about half of it. Like I said, I do not reach for pore diffusing primers that often. So for me to use half of any primer usually means a lot because I just go straight into foundation on an everyday basis. Like I'll sit down to do my makeup, I skip right over primer for the most part, unless I'm specifically trying to target like my redness or I'm just noticing that whatever, I need a little bit of extra hydration. So the fact that I have used half, and probably one of very few in my collection that I have used half of. So this is fantastic. If you love pore diffusing primers, this is one to check out for sure. The next one that I have is a blurring primer. This is the So Clean Blurring Primer from Caliray. I've been trying a lot of Caliray products lately and I've thoroughly been enjoying them. I didn't try them when they first came into Sephora, just didn't seem like a brand that I really wanted to test out. And I got this and their skin tint on a whim one day. Can't put them down. I love these. The quality of Caliray and everything that I have tried so far has been superb. Like some of my favorite products, no kidding. And they recently just had like a face palette launch and I thought, I don't need that. That is not something that I really like. I'm not into face palettes or multi-use products. Like, they end up just sitting in my drawer. I would rather reach for like single-use products, but I picked it up. Like, I couldn't help it. Everything that I've tried from Caliray has just been so good. And this just happens to be marketed as a blurring primer. And again, don't use pore diffusing primers, don't use blurring primers that often, but this is one that I actually think does work. You know, when you notice a difference with a primer, it's a big deal. It is like cooling when it goes on. It just feels good. It smells good. I love the Caliray aesthetic. Everything is very clean beauty. They talk about kind of minimal waste in their product. And I think that they're less expensive than some of the other products that are in this category and that do sell at Sephora. So I do have other items from Caliray in this roundup today just because I've been loving everything that I've been trying, but I think this is a great blurring primer. The next one that I have is a priming moisturizer. This one is from Glossier. I don't love a lot of Glossier products. I did a full face of Glossier when I first started my channel, and I ended up decluttering a lot of them. I just didn't care for a lot of the products, or they just didn't stand out to me as some of the top items that I've tried in my life. So I did get rid of some of them. Some of them are just very minimal, and I prefer something more, I don't know, something that stands out, just more impactful. But this was a primer. When I got it, I literally couldn't put it down. I like something that's moisturizing, but I also like it to be lightweight because I don't like to go into my foundation or base products like super heavy, because it tends to sit on my face funny, or it doesn't last on my face, and then when it starts to break down, it starts to not look good. So I usually just like a boost of hydration, but I want it to be a pretty thin formula, and this one was really good for that. It just offered that moisture. It felt really good going on, but it was so thin. Like, it just sunk into my skin, but it did a really good job. So this was one of the few products from Glossier that I really did enjoy. So if you're somebody who likes to moisturize as like your first step in applying your makeup, I think this one from Glossier is really good. I don't have any other Glossier products in here, but this is just one that I kept reaching for. There's quite a bit of product in here, but yeah, I was eating it up pretty fast. So I do really like this product, and I think it's a good one from their line, and one to check out now that Glossier is in Sephora. I don't have any eyeshadow primers. I'm not a big eyeshadow primer user. When I do, I actually have my favorites that are not from Sephora. However, I did just purchase Rare Beauty's eyeshadow primer, so I'm definitely excited to test that out and see how that compares to some of the other ones that I have. But yeah, the eyeshadow primers in my collection really don't come from Sephora, not the top ones, maybe the Urban Decay, but it is kind of getting phased out at this point with some of the other eyeshadow primers that I've been trying from the drugstore. So anyway, we shall move on into foundations. I probably could have gone really ham in the foundations department because there are quite a few foundations that I really do like from Sephora, but when I'm thinking of like foundations that I don't want to live without, that work for me 100% of the time. I mean, it doesn't matter what I pair it with. It doesn't matter what climate I'm in. And I think for me, that makes a big difference because when I go to a drier climate, I have to change foundation sometimes. And here in Florida, depending upon like what season it is, I usually have to change foundations. One of these foundations I have taken in a different climate, and I know 100% they work. They never get finicky with anything I pair it with. And some of the foundations that I absolutely love are a little bit more finicky. I wanted to include the ones that I know work for me 100% of the time. The first one that I have, I think gets mixed reviews. That's the Sephora Best Skin Ever foundation. I don't care. Like, this is one of my holy grails. I have used half of this product. I took it traveling with me. I don't have any other foundation in my collection that I've used half of, and I only got this foundation in 2022. It's just a light to medium coverage foundation, never pills on my skin, never separates on my skin, never looks too heavy on my skin. It's one of the only foundations in my collection that it's like every single time I wear this, I feel and think it looks really good. It doesn't sink into my fine lines. It works for my dry, kind of mature skin really well. I have never been disappointed. I didn't try this when it first came out. I waited until the Best Skin Ever concealer came out, and then I got a full face of the Sephora collection, and honestly, this immediately became my holy grail. The other holy grail that I've probably used like maybe close to a quarter of the foundation now does not come from Sephora. It just blends into my skin seamlessly. It seems to last a really long time. Yeah, and it doesn't matter what I pair this product with. It works with everything. I freaking love this, and I know that I hear some people say, oh, you know, the hype is not real on this. For me, the hype is really real, and that foundation retails for $20. I wanted to bring up one that is a skin tint. This one is the Freedreaming skin tint from Caliray. I recently picked this up. I cannot put this down. This is another one that I've noticed works so well for my skin 100% of the time. There hasn't been one single time that I've used this that I've gone, what concealer did I wear? Or what powder did I pair that with? I could love a powder on top of certain foundations, and then sometimes no, it just doesn't look good. Like the two of them are too heavy together and I immediately regret my decisions. But this one is one of those, never matters what powder I pair it with. Like I said, this and some of the other Caliray products I ended up just kind of picking up on a whim when I happened to be in store at Sephora. So it wasn't like something that I purchased online. I just saw it and I was like, okay, I'm here. I'm gonna spend my money recklessly like I do when I go shopping in stores. But anyway, this was fantastic. I didn't regret it. I cannot believe it worked so well for me. It is a lightweight coverage that looks like my skin. It looks like I gave my skin the airbrushed effect that it was asking for. I didn't overdo it, couldn't overdo it. It's very, very lightweight. This one is more of a foundation, more medium coverage for me, so I wear it when I need a medium coverage foundation. I cannot stop using that product. I love, love, love it. And I wasn't expecting to love it. Like I said, I picked it up on a whim because I'm a makeup lover and I cannot put it down. Next, moving on into concealers. First one that I have is the Dior Forever Skin Correct. I have two. I have the older version that's in the plastic packaging, and then I picked up the one in the reformulated version. This is in a glass bottle. I love these. I took this one traveling with me. I ended up picking up this one, not so that I could replace it, but so I could test the formulation on a new product launch. And I wanted to make sure that my holy grail was not destroyed. I tell you what, this is just a medium coverage concealer, but it's like never creasing on me. It lasts all freaking day long. It looks good with every foundation. I never feel like I go in too heavy with this. Like I said, never creases, doesn't move, works in any climate. I took it traveling. This one is so dirty. We'll just call it used. It's one that I would take traveling with me everywhere because it's just a tried and true product. Like I said, works in every single climate, medium coverage. Usually what I'm looking for is medium coverage, never creases. I think that the reformulation is really, really good. I don't think it really changed. Like I don't notice any single difference in this. I'm glad to say that I don't think that they destroyed the reformulation. The only difference that I noticed is this is my older one and it may have oxidized a little bit because the newer one seems to be lighter, unless what they did was like change the shade range just a bit. As far as like high-end products go, there are some in my collection that are more affordable, but I don't care. Like I like this one so much, I will repurchase this. This is a holy grail for me. The next one that I have didn't immediately become a holy grail for me, but I know that it is now based on my preferences. And this one I also do have two of in my collection. This is the Triple Fix Full Coverage Concealer from LYS. I have grown to love this. When it first launched, I was like, okay, it's a decent concealer. I don't really notice it standing out above other products. I don't like that this is like the tiniest doe foot applicator with the tiniest opening and you have to shove it back in, but that's really just packaging. I don't mind tiny doe foot applicators. They don't really bother me at all, but I love this because it's a medium coverage concealer. I would not call it full coverage, even though it calls itself full coverage, but it never creases. It's again one of those that 100% of the time, I never look at my under eyes when I'm at work and go, what concealer did I put on today? Because ew, this is just one that I look and I go, yes. It is one of the most lightweight concealers that I have in my collection. It doesn't even feel like I'm swatching it when I swatch it. That's how lightweight it is. And I'm surprised that it's so medium coverage for as lightweight of a product as it is. Again, I didn't immediately fall in love with this product, but I can tell you, like, I'm not going without it anymore. I really, really like this. This is one that I feel safe traveling with. I do have a backup. This is a pretty affordable product, and I like a lot of stuff from LYS, so I think that's a tremendous concealer from Sephora. Let's move on into powders. I was going through my powder collection and it was a little bit difficult because some of my favorite powders are actually from the drugstore right now at this current moment. So the two that I have, one is comparable. One is the high-end version of the other one from drugstore that I grab for all the time, and one is a finishing powder. So the finishing powder is the Airbrush Flawless Finish from Charlotte Tilbury, because I have to have something that's very lightweight for my skin, just because I mentioned before, when I start pairing products together, sometimes they just end up looking super heavy on me, and I don't like that. Like it's noticeable. I feel like anything super heavy kind of sinks into my fine lines really quickly. I don't have the most youthful skin anymore, so I think heavier products are like immediately noticeable on me. So this one for a finishing powder is so lightweight that I haven't found anything to replace this. Even her newest one, I don't like it. I don't care for it. This one I've hit pan on. How many things do I have pan on? One? There might be two powders in my whole collection that I've hit pan on. there might be 2 products in my whole collection that I've hit pan on. So I haven't pan on this because I reach for it all the time. I think it's really, really good. I don't think she can even dupe herself. I think this is kind of an unmatched, unparalleled product for a finishing powder that's just super finely milled, super lightweight. It works with every foundation, like I said. I would repurchase this. Like, there's no way that I'm gonna hit pan and then not repurchase it. Like, I need to have this in my collection. This is a top one from Charlotte Tilbury. The next one that I have is a powder foundation that I use as a setting powder. And this one is the Turn Up the Base Versatile Foundation Powder from One Size. I think this is the equivalent for me in terms of like what the drugstore setting powder that I have. And they're both, of course, pressed powders. I don't have any like finishing powders or setting powders in a loose powder form that I really think are my holy grails that I just couldn't live without the way that I do with pressed powders. I again probably picked this up on a whim just to try some stuff from One Size. It may have been like the first or second product that I've tried from One Size that kind of got me going, okay, some of their quality is really good. This is another powder from my dry, kind of mature skin that I reach for as a setting powder that never matters what I pair it with. Like, it never looks too heavy on me, and that's it. That's the box that it needs to check. Don't look too heavy, set my face. Period. Done. This one is a tremendous one. Let's do setting sprays, just cause. I really only have one. I have others that are from Sephora, but I don't feel like I would repurchase them when I ran out like I do this one. So this one is the Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray by Charlotte Tilbury. I do have 2, but it wasn't because I repurchased them. I bought them in a dual pack of these minis. I ended up just like grabbing for whatever one was available. I don't use setting sprays that often, so the fact that I have gone through like this much tells you that I reach for this one when I'm looking to really set my face. I don't find a lot of setting sprays do very much for me. Again, it's kind of like a primer. It's an additional step for me. I don't find that it always does very much, and I usually grab for setting sprays for a purpose. Not just for going to work, but like, okay, I'm going out, I'm doing a date thing, a date night, whatever, and I really need to lock it in. So this one happens to be one that is like high end that I think actually makes a difference. I even noticed this being better than the Urban Decay All-Nighter that got like a ton of hype when I really started to get into makeup. So I have it in my collection. I just don't think it works as well as this. I think it actually does something, and I think it's not sticky, but locks my foundation down, not heavy. I like the sprayer on it. You know, those are important things. Sometimes these sprayers, like, they just drench you, get you super wet, or sometimes like the spray is outside, or, you know, it just doesn't hit your face and you end up using half the bottle. So I think this is a good sprayer. I don't think it feels heavy or sticky on me. I just think it actually works amongst some of my other setting sprays in my collection. Let's move on into blushes. I do have a few blushes here just because blushes right now are one of my favorite like beauty product categories. So I want to talk about one that is powder and then one that is a cream product. So the first one up that I have is fairly new, and I cannot put it down because it is the kind of formulation that I personally love. It's not for everybody, probably based on like the consistency and like the finish of it, but this is the Dannesa Myrics Yummy Skin Cream Blushes that recently launched. I can't put this down. This is a product that does everything that I want a cream blush to do, which is pretty emollient, very pigmented, and it's a cream to powder formula, and it lasts all day. That's it. Those are my kind of blushes. I don't need radiance. I don't want it to be super dewy and last 5 minutes. I don't want it to be very lightly pigmented. I want it to be super pigmented. Like I said, I want it to fully dry down and last all day. And I want it to be creamy enough that it applies without looking patchy. And that does this. I freaking love this thing. I was in Sephora just yesterday and I was like, do I get another shade? Do I get another shade? I was like, no, you don't need another shade. This one is in Rosé and Brunch. I mean, even the packaging, I really do like it because I like that it's flat when it's this potted product, because you can just dip your brush in, you can dip your sponge in, you know, you're not gonna make a mess with it. Yeah, this is super, super good. You guys, if you like the things that I mentioned, a long lasting, very pigmented, cream to powder, but emollient cream product blush, you're going to love this. Okay, I do have to talk about another cream blush product only because I love these. I say these because I do have 2. It is a product that I like so much. I ended up getting 2 from the line in different shades. These are the cream blush lights from Melt. These are a little bit different than the Dannesa Myrics. I would say that they are still pretty emollient. Like, they have a good emollients to them. They're very easy to apply. They look airbrushing. I don't ever get any patchiness issues, but I think they have a little bit more radiance. So if I'm looking for a little bit more radiance, then I get that with this. But the pigmentation is still there, even though they have radiance. The 2 shades that I have are Honey Thief and Pink Sand. So here is the Pink Sand and here is Honey Thief. I love these for their formulation. I love these for their finish. I love these for their longevity. I don't have a lot of Melt Cosmetics products in my collection. I just haven't tried a lot. The ones that I have tried, they're okay. I've tried their bronzers and other things, but these are top notch for me. That's why I do have 2 shades. I would pick up more, honestly, if I needed more in my life. I just don't. I have too many going on, but I think these are tremendous. I don't hear a huge amount of people talking about these. I think that they had their moment when they came out maybe 2 years ago at this point, but I think these are great, 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 and I would be remiss if I didn't mention them for all of the boxes that I like checked with an added touch of a little bit of radiance on the finish. As I was looking through my powder blush collection, I realized a lot of the powder blushes that I grabbed for aren't from Sephora. So the first one that I have, I did end up purchasing 2 so that I could feature them on my channel. And it wasn't as though I had one and then I went back and got another. These are the new HAUS Labs Color Fuse blushes, but I needed to put them in this video because I think these are awesome. I'm not a huge fan of HAUS Labs products in general. I do have a couple of things just for testing purposes. The foundation was good. It wasn't my absolute favorite in my collection, as you can see, but I think that these blushes are a standout. I didn't touch the bronzer. Like, I never went for the bronzer when it released. I haven't tried a lot of the eye products. I've tried one lip product from HAUS Labs and I just wasn't over the moon about it. No, I've tried 2 products from HAUS Labs, lip products. One of them I didn't care for, and the lip oil I actually really did like, but I didn't purchase more than one of the lip oils. So these are super, super good. They're a matte finish. They're just a powder blush, but they're talc-free. They're really pigmented and they're super long lasting. I mean, I don't want anything else. There's nothing else that I need. I think these are really worth the money. I think that they're worth checking out if you're someone who's like me and you like the kind of blushes that I do. So I think these are great. Let's move on to the next category. Let's move on to bronzers. So I have 2 bronzers and they're both cream because I looked through my powder drawer of bronzers and there isn't any from Sephora that are really my holy grails. I have a lot of drugstore bronzers that I really think are good. And so yeah, I had to exclude kind of the powder category from today's video. But the first bronzer that I have that is a cream is the NARS Laguna Bronzing Cream. This one is in the shade Laguna 01. I think this is a tremendous product. I think it's emollient but easy to apply. It's never patchy. I think it's a neutral tone for fair skin. I think it looks airbrushing, and it's one that I just never feel like I go too heavy with. It's one of the few cream bronzers in my collection that I actually feel nail the shade really well, and it has just kind of like the formulation that I absolutely love. I think NARS did a really, really good job with this shade. Look at this. Not too gray, very neutral, but looks like a bronzer and not a contour. I love the emollients. I feel like it lasts a really long time. Like I said, I can go in super heavy with this and I never feel like I've overdone my bronzer, which can, especially on fair skin. You can get a bronzer that you just go in too heavy and then it looks like orange striped, or it's very noticeable that you're wearing a bronzer, whereas with this one, I just don't find that. I think this is a tremendous launch from NARS. It is my favorite cream bronzer currently in my collection. The next one that I have is a fairly new release. This is the Tower 28 Sculptino in the shade Broad. This is defined as like a sculpting product. So they market it as a contour and a bronzer, but it's not a contour for me because it has more of a bronzy shade. I have used the crap out of this. As you can see, I've already made a mess of it. So I know that it's something that I've been really, really reaching for when it's something that I've made a mess of, and I've only had this like less than a month. Here is the shade right here. It does have a little bit of radiance. It's never patchy. It's super light and like very natural looking on the skin, like super, super natural. And even though it has a teeny bit of radiance where the NARS is like completely matte, it actually is like a cream to powder finish. And I love it. And the reason that I say that this is not a contour and they shouldn't market it as such is because it has a little bit of warmth in it. Because it's so beautiful and easy to apply, I can go ham without looking orange or like I've laid too much on. And because it's like this very, very natural finish, it is such a good one. I have been freaking loving this one. Let's move on into eyebrows. I'm a pretty picky eyebrow pencil gal, and I do not use liquids for my eyebrows. I am all pencil, and I typically don't branch out. I have tried quite a few more recently. I think the Anastasia Brow Wiz is really good, and I was on that one for a really, really long time. So I can kind of say, like, as a bonus item, I think that the Anastasia Brow Wiz is like a tried and true OG. I think it is really, really good. The ones that I have just been using to death lately and have repurchased are really the ones that I want to focus on. So the first one that I want to bring up is kind of like my everyday, I grab this all the time. It is the Benefit Precisely My Brow. I do have 2 shades. I have 2.5 and then I have 3. I love this thing. I have repurchased this like 6 times. So that tells you these are just really, really good from Benefit. I like a brow pencil that's a little bit creamy, but also a little bit dry. So like right in the middle, I like something that's really precise because I don't add a lot to my brows. I just mostly define them around their natural shape and then fill them in. I think that the colors that Benefit puts out are probably the most flattering for what I prefer. There's not a huge amount of difference, but this one is 3, this one is in 2.5. What I find a lot of times with brow companies or brow products that they release is like you'll get 3 or 4 shades, and that's just not how many shades you should have in a brow line, because a lot of us are trying to like match our natural hair color, and there's a lot of variations in hair color. Benefit comes out with a pretty good range in my opinion. The 2.5 is pretty cool toned, and my brows are very cool toned. So having the 2.5 has been awesome because I think it looks the most natural on me. Like I said, I've repurchased these about 6 times now. They're just like a waterproof, and I love that because I'm somebody who like touches my eyebrows. I take naps sometimes. They stay pretty well, and I really like that. I think having the 3 is a little bit more warm toned, and sometimes I like something that's a little bit deeper depending upon the eye look that I'm creating. They're a little bit stiffer of a formula, like they're not super creamy, but that usually means for me that they're gonna last a long time, and that's what I look for. So I love these. I think these are a top brow product if you're somebody who likes like just a fine micro tipped brow pencil. The next one that I have is also from Sephora. This is one of their retractable brow pencils. This one is in the shade 1.5 Taupe. This is another one that is waterproof. I like this because it reminds me so much of the Benefit Precisely My Brow. I think it's probably a little bit creamier. This is the 1.5 shade in Taupe, and it's right next to the 2.5 in Benefit. Honestly, like I don't see that much of a difference. Again, budge proof, waterproof, micro precise brow pencil. It's a little bit chalky in my opinion, like it's not super creamy. So for that reason, it just tends to stay in my brows a long time. And every time I wear this, people are like, oh my God, look at your brows. They look so good. What are you wearing? I don't know why people compliment people's eyebrows, but I get a lot of compliments on my eyebrows, especially when I wear that pencil. So I think that's a really good one. If I did not have my Benefit and I had the Sephora one, I would be okay. Like I would live. It would be all right. Let's move on into eyeliners. I have one waterproof gel felt liner. This one is also from the Sephora collection. I think this is awesome. I don't use that many eyeliners, and a lot of the ones that I have, I use from the drugstore, and I think that the drugstore is awesome. Like I don't think you need to spend a lot of money on liners. In my personal opinion, it's just not something that I reach for that often, and I think the drugstore does a really, really good job. This one is just a felt liner, and it's really precise, and it's waterproof, and it's really thin because it's the felt tip, so you can get a really precise line, and then you can go heavier if you want to. It's black, it's matte, it's pigmented, it doesn't budge. Like every little box that you would want checked, I think this one does, and it's relatively inexpensive. So I love that one, and I will be repurchasing it. The next one that I have is a retractable eyeliner. So these are ones that I would normally use in my waterline and do all of the time. Again, I don't use eyeliners that often, and when I do, I find ones that are more affordable and from the drugstore are just fine for me. The one that I have is the Sephora. This is the waterproof retractable eyeliner. Again, this is just super pigmented. It's one that like I don't feel like I have to warm up. Here it is right here. When I go into it, it's just a matte black. It never budges. It's super creamy, but it doesn't like skip all over. Everything that I would want from an eyeliner that I'm gonna put into my waterline is right here in the Sephora one. It's so worth every penny. The next one that I have is the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil. I really like these. These are not retractable. These are the sharpenable pencils. I like these because this one in particular has some shimmer to it. It is also waterproof. It is non-budging. I happen to have mine in Tiger's Eye, which I don't think they sell this shade in their line anymore, or at least on Sephora, but I happen to like this one because it's just kind of like a neutral brown shade with a little bit of shimmer. I think these are really good from Urban Decay. Let's move on into highlighters that I feel like I skipped right over. This was super easy category for me to choose because again, I think there are a lot of drugstore highlighters that do a really, really good job, and there are only a few from Sephora that I feel like are my holy grail pales. So the first one that I have is the Bobbi Brown Highlighting Powder. I do have 2 shades, so that tells you something. I have one in Peach Glow and then one in Pink Glow. I had the Pink Glow first, and when they launched the Pink Glow, I was like, well, I'm getting that because I love peach and I like a lot of orange blushes and all of that. I honestly think these are probably like my favorite high-end highlighters in my entire collection. They're just super punchy. They don't overemphasize any of the texture on my cheeks. Some highlighters just do because they're just a thicker consistency, a thicker formula, and you just start seeing texture more than you really thought you had on your cheeks. And I think these are soft and gorgeous and like catch the light but are thin and baked and don't have glitter but look very shimmery. Something about this formulation just I love, love, love. So here's the Pink Glow, here's the Peach Glow. It's just very, very subtle, but it's super punchy and it lasts a super long time. These are really expensive, but they are so good that I had the Pink Glow, picked up the Peach Glow. That's how I feel about them. I honestly would repurchase these because I just love having these in my collection, and I think that they are some of the best in terms of formulation that I have overall in my collection. The next one that I have is a fairly recent purchase. This is the Caliray Highlight. This one actually reminds me of the ColourPop Super Shock formula. It is just like a putty formula, but this is better in my opinion. I did recently try the Super Shock formula again because I do have 2 of them in my collection, but I think this one is just even thinner of a formula. I think that it goes onto your skin like butter. Like butter. It is so, so comfortable, lightweight. Doesn't even feel like I'm swatching anything when I'm swatching it, but it's so pigmented and so light reflecting. I have mine in the shade Starlight Beach. Like I said, I have been loving Caliray products, have not disliked anything that I've tried, but I have loved everything that I've tried. It's just so beautiful, lasts a good amount of time. That is a top recommendation for me. If you guys have not tried Caliray and you have like similar interests as me, I would say it's a brand to check out for sure. Let's move into mascaras. Mascaras, I'm pretty picky about. I say that in a couple of categories, but I feel like I am pretty picky. We all have our own preferences and maybe that's what I'm referring to. But mascaras, like they live and die in my drawer. I grab for like the top 3 100% of the time, and then I like some, but I just never go back to using them except these 2. And I have repurchased both of these more than once. So the first one is the Lawless The One and Done mascara. I really don't hear many people talking about this, but this is a holy grail mascara for me. It is the weirdest little applicator. It's very, very thin. The bristles are like the micro small. They're tiny, tiny. This is a really pigmented formula and it's a very sticky formula. When you start building, it thickens your eyelashes and I just love it. It's not clumpy, but it's thickening without it giving like too much volume, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Some mascaras just give so much volume that they start clumping or they look unnatural, and this one is just thick. Like it adds weight to my lashes and I love it. I love how pigmented this is, and I have repurchased this 3 times. It's just one that I grab for constantly. I cannot put it down. I don't hear a lot of people talking about this. So this is one of my holy grail mascaras. And I have been asked many times, what mascara are you wearing today? And it's always this one. The next one that I have is another product from Tower 28. This is their Make Waves mascara. I have repurchased this already, even though it's a fairly new launch, once, and I'm sure that I'm going to repurchase it again. It is a mascara that is like the epitome of everything that I like in an eyelash. It is super pigmented. It gives so much length. It's so easy to apply. It's never clumpy. Both of these mascaras, they come off super easily at the end of the night. This is massively pigmented and it's underwhelming. I mean that the packaging is underwhelming. Like it doesn't seem like it would do what it does. It just shocks the hell out of you in this little tiny tube. Like I said, even though this is a newer product, I have already repurchased this once. I hope they never reformulate. I hope Tower 28 stays in business because I love, love, love this mascara. Let's move on to lippies. So lip liners are a category that I could care less about most of the time. I just don't wear it a lot. I move on. Like I throw on something glossy and move on with my life. Basically a makeup graveyard over there for my lip liners. They just don't serve a whole lot of purpose in my collection, but there are some that I think are tremendous. Usually what I'm looking for is just a little bit of color and pigmentation, and again, something that's comfortable but also lasts. But there are 2 in here that I have multiples of from Sephora, and I did that because I liked them so much. So the first ones that I have are the Sephora Rouge Gel Lip Liners. I have mine in the shades Nothing But Nude and Sink or Suede. I think these are really good lip liners if you like something creamy. These are not a long-lasting formula, but I like something creamy sometimes. I will take the lip liner to give myself a little bit of definition, and then I'll start to like fill in the outer edges, and then I'll go in with a lip product. So when I like something that's really creamy and I'm not worried about it lasting a super long time, these are tremendous and they're not that expensive. Here's the Sink or Suede, and there's the Nothing But Nude one. They have a little bit of sheen to them. So if you want a little bit of sheen in something that's really creamy, these are fantastic. The next one that I have is a more long lasting formula. Again, one that I liked so much, I ended up going back and getting another one. These are the Lip Contours 2.0 from Huda Beauty. I have multiples in my collection for lip liners because I do get the ones that I really, really like, and then I stick with them, but most of them are from the drugstore. These are the only two from Sephora that I have multiples of because I loved them so much. So I have them in Rusty Pink, and then the next one that I have is Pinky Brown. She makes some bomb shades in her line. Honestly, I love the range that she comes out with. These are like airbrushing, but like matte, but they go on super creamy and they're super long lasting. Here are the two shades. So this is the Pinky Brown and this one is the Rusty Pink one. These ones are just so smooth. They don't bleed. They have a good amount of pigmentation. They look airbrushing on the lips. They don't move around. They're pretty long lasting formula and I love the shade range. So much so that I would definitely repurchase more shades from her line because I just think it's such a good lip liner. Let's move on into lip products. I have two different lip products here. The first one is from YSL. I do have two because I like them so much and they're so comfortable, and there is something about the formula, the quality, the smell, the colors. I just love these. These are a little bit different. One is the Rouge Volupté Rock and Shine, which is this one, which I think was like in limited edition packaging. And then this one is the Volupté Shine. So it's not like the Rock and Shine, which was probably just regular in their line. And I have this one in the shade, who the hell knows? I think it's 88. These are something else, I tell you what. They're like a balm, but they give a good amount of color, but they're like pina colada. They are the kind that I would just go like that all day. They're so comfortable. They're like a little summer drink for your lips. That's how they feel for me. They're just my kind of throw in your purse. I love these. They never let me down. They're not the longest lasting formula, but when I'm going for like a balm that is smooth and isn't sticky, like I don't expect that it would give me that. And I ended up getting the limited edition one first, and then I went back and got another one because I just like it so much. Not that this one was expiring or anything. I just wanted one in a different shade. And this one right here has a little bit of like a shimmer in it. It has a design in the middle. It's like a star. So a lot of times that extra shine kind of like comes through on this color, and I wanted one that was like, you know, just solid in a different shade. They're not very different. They're just so good that I went back and got another shade. Mind you, these are very, very expensive, but I think that they are fantastic. The next one that I have 3 shades of. That's how much I like it. These are the Moisture Glow Plumping Lips from Makeup by Mario. Yeah, I have 3 colors. I have some lip products that I carry 3 of, but not many. Like they're my favorite ones that I have like 3 in different shades from that line. I just think that these are really unique products on the market. They're plumping, they're the glossiest thing in the entire world, but they are also the most pigmented. The thing with these is they're not very long lasting. And because I end up rubbing my lips together so much, they last even less amount of time. Because all I do when I get them on is go, because they're just so comfortable. So the shades that I have are Mocha Glow in the brown one. The next one that I have is Plum Glow, and then I have Apricot Glow. So here are the shades. They're just these super, super glowy, super hydrating. It's like a mild plumping. It doesn't burn your lips or anything. Sometimes I can barely tell that they're on. They're just so comfortable and so glossy that I think that they're a really unique formula, and I have 3 shades. So if you haven't tried these and you like something that offers a lot of pigmentation but a lot of glow and just like to the moon and back, these are totally worth checking out from Sephora. That was every category. I don't have any eyeshadow palettes that I want to go over simply because my favorite formulas actually don't come from Sephora. I have a lot of indie brand shadows that I just love. Some of them are from like Ulta and other places. I just don't have a lot of formulations from Sephora that I absolutely would consider my holy grails, except one brand in particular, which is Huda Beauty. I think most of her formulations in her larger shadows are really, really good, and I usually pick them up no matter what the color story is because I'm really excited to test the shimmer formula and to test the matte formula and the blendability and all of that. So if you're interested in checking out any eyeshadow brands from Sephora, I would say that Huda Beauty is kind of like my tried and true brand that I pick up all of their eyeshadow palettes. I don't usually pick up the small ones that she launches. I don't need those in my collection, and I don't think those are as good of a quality as the larger palettes from her line. So I would say that is the only one. I do have many of them in my collection, but I just wanted to make mention to those. That is all that I had for today's video. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments whether some of these are your absolute holy grails, what products maybe that you find are tremendous, top products from Sephora that you have in your collection that I didn't mention today. Maybe I haven't even tried some of those, so I'd be interested in hearing. If you guys are new to my channel, hi, my name is Carrie. If you aren't currently subscribed, I hope you do. I'm having a real fun time here on YouTube and talking about beauty products, so I hope that you consider staying with me. I'm out of here, you guys, and I will catch you all in my next video. Bye.